everyone. We are going right along to our very next paper, which is going to be the genre analysis. So we're going to go over your prompt today. Just remember, genres, according to your book, are categorizations or ways of classifying things. So usually we think of like our favorite types of books or movies, whether we like drama, fiction, romance, comedy, etc. What kind of music that we like. Is it country, rap, pop, whatever. The genres also apply to written works. So it can be a literacy narrative versus a PowerPoint versus a song or poem. Those are all different types of genres. An analysis is a thorough assessment of anything. It is looking at the details of a particular work and determining its nature, composition, and its essential features. In this case, you will be analyzing two advertisements from the same organization and comparing them to determine which is the more effective one. They can be any genre, such as a poster, a commercial, a print advertisement, a featurette, infographic, billboard, marquee, social media post, whatever. Just make sure that they are different. So, you wouldn't want to analyze two commercials. You would maybe want to do like a billboard in a commercial. And we're going to analyze it using the rhetorical strategies and situations in a 2-page minimum MLA formatted paper. Now, this one's going to be a little bit different than the other writings that we have been doing. In both of our literacy narrative and the interview project, they've been a little bit more casual. And here we're getting to something that's a little bit more structured as we start thinking about, research writing down the road for our next class in 1020. So in this paper, we are going to discuss the following. What was the exigence of each piece? What motivated them to create it? Were they trying to reach a particular audience? Who is the intended audience? Because sometimes that's different. For example, a lot of TV commercials will be geared towards an audience of people who prefer to watch television. Billboards are geared towards people who are old enough to drive and will see them and kind of pay attention to them on the road. Are there any constraints? And that could be like in the content. Like if it's a commercial, a constraint might be that they can't swear because it might be showing during prime time. A constraint can also be time. Again, if it's a commercial, like a regular 30-second spot commercial on television, it really can't go longer. But if it's a commercial shown before a movie, those are usually a little bit longer. Sometimes they'll be up to a minute and a half. Might have some other constraints such as language, like where is this being advertised? Is it in English? Is it in Spanish? Whatever. So just be thinking about what might be some constraints that it might have. What's the purpose? Was it to inform, persuade, or entertain? And the purpose can actually be more than one. And in some cases, it can be all three, because sometimes a commercial or advertisement is used to inform you about the product, persuade you to buy it, and they sometimes try to include some sort of entertainment value. Do they have any logical fallacies? And that's something that we're going to discuss in class in depth. Do they have ethos, logos, and pathos? And if so, how are they used? Do they demonstrate kairos? Are they timeliness? Were they effective? That's the number one thing. And which one out of the two was more effective? So that seems like a lot, but we're going to be going over this a lot in class, so I don't want you to panic over it. But here is an easy way that we could potentially structure this paper. So in your first paragraph, you're going to introduce your advertisements and their genre. So go into detail as to what they are advertising, and why you picked those particular advertisements. So describe them. Let me know what's in them. I am going to ask that you provide links for them, but describe to me in detail what's going on in there. And then in the next paragraph, maybe discuss the rhetorical situation, your exigent audience constraints. In the fourth paragraph, maybe discuss the purpose of the genres and if they had any logical fallacies. In the fifth paragraph, you can discuss those rhetorical strategies. Did they contain ethos, pathos, and logos, and kairos, and how? And then in the sixth paragraph, were they effective? Go into detail as to how and determine which one was more effective. Now you do, this is just an easy structure to follow. You don't have to follow this, but as long as you're covering all these elements, that's what I'm going to be looking for. You can address the two genres in the same paragraph or make the paragraph separate. You can discuss one in a kind of a mini paper and then discuss the other. And then let your conclusion be which one you felt was more effective. The hardest part about a paper like this is that it will seem a little bit choppy and repetitive at times, as certain elements will overlap in the rhetorical strategies and situation. And that is okay. In this particular paper, it is okay. An analysis is a slightly different beast than most other forms of writing, and in this case, a little repetition is fine. One thing that I would highly recommend doing is using headers to kind of divide your sections. And I'll be going over some class examples of how this is done. That when you use headers in a paper, it kind of automatically helps with the flow of the paper, because sometimes it's really hard, especially in an analysis, to kind of go from one paragraph to the next and kind of make them flow logically. But when you put in those headers, it does that for you. So as I said, when we get back into class on Monday, we will be taking a look at student examples, so that way you know what that looks like. So that is the prompt, and we are going to be discussing this in depth over the next couple of weeks leading into fall break. Paper will not be due until later, so right now I just want you to worry about the prompt. And here's just a little bit of an example. We're just going to take a look at one advertisement. So this is a Coca-Cola advertisement that was really, really popular in the 1940s, and it would show up on billboards. And so if I was going to kind of be going over what's in my genre analysis, I would say, you know, Coca-Cola is a worldwide product that has been recognized by everyone. And in the 1940s, actually, Coca-Cola is the reason why we visioned Santa Claus in a red suit and hat, because they hired a very famous artist to depict all these images of Santa Claus drinking Coca-Cola. And that actually is why we think of Santa looking the way he does now. It was thanks to Coke. So a little bit of background on this. And so I picked this genre because it's easily recognized. I picked this product too because it's easily recognized. We've all seen billboards. We've all seen Coca-Cola. A lot of people have, even if they've never drunk Coca-Cola before, they know about it. So, and then if I was to describe it, I would say that, you know, the billboard shows jolly old Saint Nick with his cherry red cheeks holding a cup of Coca-Cola, telling you to drink Coca-Cola because it's delicious and refreshing. It's exigence. Why they created this? Well, of course, they want people to drink more Coca-Cola. That is the number one thing. Is audience is really a general audience, because this appeals to every age. You know, young kids, they see Santa Claus, they get excited. Older people, they see Santa Claus, they feel a little bit of nostalgia. Some constraints will be, it is a billboard, so you can't have it, you can't put too many words there, because if you're driving down the road and you see a billboard with a whole bunch of words on it, you don't have time to really stop and read it. So it's short and sweet and to the point. Drink Coca-Cola, delicious and refreshing. That's usually all you'll have time to see. So that's probably the main constraint of this particular genre. So again, the purpose of this particular billboard is to get you to buy the product. Doesn't really have any logical fallacies. It's not telling you, it's not like this bandwagon appeal. Like if it had said, everyone drinks Coke, it's delicious and refreshing, then that would have been, you know, one of those logical fallacies. But this one, in this case, it doesn't have any, and that's okay if it doesn't. Is it credible? We tend to trust brand name products, and so that kind of gives it that automatic credibility. It has pathos because we have warm, fuzzy feelings around the holiday times. And so that's why they used Santa Claus, is just to kind of try to make us feel all warm and fuzzy inside. And I could see logic. It's well organized. You know, it's easy. Like there's not stuff all over the place. And so it's really, really easy to draw attention to the product and to what they're saying. Let's see here. And is it timely? Well, this was an advertisement from the 1940s, but it's still pretty relevant today because, everybody wants something to drink, and Coca-Cola is a great product, if you like Coke. So, was it effective? And this can be a little bit, objective here because some people might hate Coca-Cola. So, for them, it would not be effective at all. But for some people who do like it, and who are jumping on that nostalgia bandwagon. If you've noticed, they've had a lot of remakes lately on both TV shows and movies and things like that. And so this having kind of that nostalgic appeal is pretty effective. So again, this will be your analysis. So your opinion in a way. So my opinion is I think it's very effective. Is it the most effective thing? It might not be to you, and that's okay to say in the paper. So that's kind of what I'm going to be looking for, is just analyzing particular advertisements. So for your your asynchronous assignment this week, you are going to be taking a look at 2 other Coca-Cola advertisements, and I'm not going to have you go through the entire list, but at least tell me which one you feel like is a more effective advertisement for someone of your generation and why.